Welcome to Inside Amusements, your number one podcast about yesterday, today, and tomorrow's amusements. With your hosts, Brian, Chris, and Eric. I'm Joe, the producer, and this is All the World's a Stage, with special guest, Dustin Farris. And now, here's Brian.
Thanks, Joe. Unfortunately, today we start the news out on a down note. Looks like we lost one of our great actors, James Caan. News came out earlier today that he passed away at age 82. You may remember him from the Godfather movies and the cult classic Elf. Unfortunately, we lost Mr. Caan today. Go out and watch some of his movies and reminisce a little bit today and put his family in your thoughts.
Yeah, very sad.
All right, and moving on to the last article in the news today, we have found out that 2 roller coasters are opening up this month, which would be the first one that we learned about is Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, I believe, or over Texas, one of the 2 Texas parks. I had it here and I lost it. But that's opening on July 30th. And then this Saturday, in 2 days as of this recording, Glenwood Caverns will open Defiance, their Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster, which looks awesome. So, that's the coaster news. So, that's all for this trip around the carousel.
Our guest on this episode of Inside Amusements began working at Kings Island Amusement Park in 2009. He's performed in more than 25 shows, including Off the Charts, Hollywood Nights, and currently as the Maestro in Kings Island's Phantom Theater. Please welcome to the show, Dustin Farris.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good, Dustin. Thanks so much for being here.
No, you're very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, Dustin, we are super excited to have you on. We are all fans, grew up with, the Phantom Theater ride, and we're so happy that they're doing something for the 50th anniversary. And it's just so cool that, you get to be up there. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight, but I'm interested, when did you get started performing? What kind of got you in that industry? And, what was some of your first experiences being on the stage?
Well, it's going to sound pretty cliche, but it's pretty much since birth. Like, as soon as I was exposed to movie musicals or Disney or anything like that, I got really into singing and performing. And then I basically just found myself in all those groups and things like that throughout school. And then I eventually went to college for vocal performance and musical theater. And that kind of just propelled me into the career.
That's so awesome, man.
Dustin, I'm kind of curious, can you mention, what's some of the your favorite shows that you performed throughout the years?
Hollywood Nights would definitely be on. Male characters in the show. And so every show was different. We did it 5 times a day, and I had to be someone else every time I did it. But that was incredibly fun to always have it feel fresh, and I got to sing, every solo. So that was an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. Off the Charts is another great one. We did it for probably, I think, 4 years in a row, 4 summers. But those are full songs with a live band. So that was a whole new sort of entertainment that Kings Island offered all of a sudden. So that was another wonderful opportunity. And it was super fun to perform outside. I really like that atmosphere, especially with the fountains behind you and the Eiffel Tower in front of you. It just had a really great energy.
Yeah, that's such a great spot there, the bandstand at the park.
Now, awesome. Can you tell us how much preparation time do you get for each show? Since you're doing all these different shows, how much time they give you to prepare for all that?
Well, normally at Kings Island, it's only, roughly about a week and a half before you move into tech. So these are 30-minute variety shows. So you get a week and a half to actually learn it and perform. And you'll probably get only 5 runs in before you have to add costumes and lights and sound and all of that extra stuff that has to get put. But then that's an additional week where they run all the technical side of things.
And going like off of that question, what's the audition process like for each of these shows?
Well, yeah, when we started, so basically they have like sections where they audition for Haunt and Winterfest, and then they have a different one where they audition for the summer shows. So basically it's just like a cattle call. You pick your day, you come in and you sign up, and then you just wait your turn. You get to perform one song in front of the music director, the head of the entertainment department, and the head choreographer. And that's all videotaped so they can review later. And then they do like a group dance call where they'll teach everyone the dance all together, and then they'll take them in like groups of 4 or groups of 6, and then they'll each perform those. And again, videotape that so they can review it and pick their choices.
The song that you audition with, Dustin, is it a pre-selected song that has to do with that show, or is it just something that you choose?
So normally we don't get any information about what the show's going to look like or what shows they're even having at the park that season. So you pick, most of the time you bring in like 2 choices, and then it's like a slow and fast song. And normally they're pop based, rock based. And you'll just do one or both of them if they ask, and then move right in.
Did you, just kind of thinking about this a little bit. Do you have like 2 of the songs that you typically would use for any sort of audition, like 2 of your kind of favorite that you feel like is really in your wheelhouse?
No, not really. I've always been terrible at auditioning. I make poor choices, and I pick a song that I've never learned before, and I always go in there and I get really nervous about it every time. It's kind of silly, even though I've been doing it for so long. I still get so nervous in front of them, even though I know Kevin personally too, the head of the entertainment department. So yeah, I don't have any particular song I pick, but he always makes me sing something from the show later anyway.
Okay.
Can you tell us what songs you auditioned for this past summer, or this summer, I should say?
Now, actually, I was asked to be in the Phantom Theater. I had told Kevin that I didn't want to do summers anymore, just because of the rigorous schedule. It's like 6 days a week, right in the middle of the day. Like,
yeah,
you really don't have time to enjoy summertime when you're working at Kings Island all that time. But then he offered me the Phantom, and it was like, the Phantom Theater ride was definitely one of my favorite rides when I was a little kid. I've never been like a roller coaster guy myself, so I was the one that was like, let's go sit in the air conditioner and watch this cool theater ride. And we did it over and over and over when I was a little kid. But he was like, the show's based off that, and we want you to play the Maestro. We don't really know how it's going to be built yet, but we're having this guy from Knott's Berry Farm in California. He designed the whole show with like a team. And he was like, I just really think you'd be good for it. And then as we started learning it, it's a very like vaudevillian musical theater style show that's kind of a mockumentary on musicals. So it's really silly. It's really out there. And I was like, this is great. Like he kind of, and I didn't have to do the parade. So it kind of was like, fine, I will come back again. I was like, I will do it.
Now, speaking of the Maestro, now you're one of 2 or 3 Maestros in that show.
So we have one male swing, and he plays every part. So there's only me and him that will play the Maestro role. But he also does, all the other male parts in the show.
Now, quick question while we're on that show is, how do you prepare to be Maestro?
So my acting idea is that I'm very organic. I create the environment. So like, is it cold? Is it hot? How do I stand? How do I view other characters? And then as soon as I create that shell of who the Maestro is, I try to just go out there and be that person. So basically I use like the fog and the music and the other characters, and I try to just feed off of that energy. And it happens. So in the very beginning of the show, the organ is covered with like a tarp. and I'm behind it waiting for the cue to turn around and start the show. And in that moment is when I'm trying to like really focus and take that beat before. Like what's in the poster of the Maestro, he has that giant grin where all of his teeth are showing and his like high cheekbones and the crazy hair. So I try to create that face and that body right before we start the show so that I can like get into it and move the story along that way.
That's really cool.
Man, I got to tell you, so I was there for the preview of the show the day before it opened. And that I know exactly that cue you're talking about, of course, but I got goosebumps. It was so exciting to see the Maestro turning around on that organ with the ghost sort of thing going up and everything. So I don't want to give it away for those who haven't seen it yet. The show's still running through August at Kings Island, but man, how amazing that must have felt for you, right? The first time that happened. I mean, I would imagine that was a cool feeling.
And as when the pictures came out, it's really awesome to see that whole thing brought to life. Like, sometimes when you're just painted up and in a costume, you don't really like connect with it as well. But then when you get a chance to step back and see it actually, and it all works, like I was like, this is great. I am very proud of the work that the cast and I have put together, and it's really great.
Yeah, it is a great show, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you get to hear the Maestro again. How long did it take you to kind of really develop the Maestro voice?
So again, we didn't get any information on like how the show was going to look or what it was going to be truly like the through line. So the only thing I had to work on before we actually started rehearsals was the voice. And I went to old videos basically on YouTube of going through the ride and listening to him. Because one of my favorite parts of the ride was, and this is silly, standing in line. Because we used to stand in the front of the line waiting to get on the gondola, and the Maestro was up on the top, like laughing at you and telling you how scared you were going to be and all that stuff. And that's, as soon as I heard that voice, that's when I was like, okay, so this is what I definitely wanted to be like traditional to that. The Swing actually chose his own character voice, and it works just as well because it's basically comedy, you know. But I wanted to be as close to his voice as possible, and truly it came to life in rehearsals. Like that's when I finally got to like walk it out and say it with the other characters and like bounce it back and forth with the director and stuff like that.
Have you, just out of curiosity, have you had any introduction to Rick Bastrop? Chris, help me out here. Rick
Rick is the one who designed the ride with R&R Creative. And I think he's going to be in town. They just said that, was it today? I think they said they released it on Kings Island's Facebook page. He'll be at this show, the last showing on the 13th to answer questions.
Like a Q&A.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that created the original ride.
Yeah. So we didn't get to personally meet him, but we do have that museum in the front of the theater where we got to see his model and where he had built and planned all the whole ride. And he actually does the voiceover for the end where he tells the audience to exit through the boiler rooms and like take your children with you, like spooky things like that.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice little nugget there.
Yeah.
Dustin, you've talked about getting into character and how you created that character. How long does it take when you're there to get into the makeup and the costume? Like, what's the prep time prior to the shows?
So when we first get there, that's probably the longest amount. That's a full hour. So you have to set your props and everything first, get into like the amount of costume you're going into makeup with. And then the makeup itself can take anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
I get like a latex, like extensive airbrush and so I would give it like a full hour just before the first show. But then we also, after every show, have to get touch-ups and basically reset everything for the next one.
What do you guys do in your downtime between shows? I'm just like curious, like, is there a green room? You guys just hang out? You get to ride a couple rides, walk around?
Yeah. So we're not allowed to ride rides on the clock, but you definitely can before or after you clock in.
That's awesome.
We only get about like 15 minutes between shows once we start. And so basically we just hang out with the cast, which has been really great. Like it really is a nice cast to work with. No drama, which is, I guess, antithetical, but
I can't imagine being outside with that kind of makeup on anyways.
That's what. The employee eatery is like all the way across the park. So I don't go. I pack my lunch.
There you go.
It's too hot.
Yeah. I was always curious of what it's like in the green room or in the back section of that theater.
You just see a whole bunch of blue ghosts sitting there chatting.
Mm-hmm. So cool. So yeah, you had mentioned that you're not really a coaster person. I mean, are there rides that you do like? Any rides at Kings Island or any other amusement parks that you enjoy? Or
so I did always love the Adventure Express. That's probably like the coaster that I will continue to go on. But this is going to sound weird. My favorite ride was always the Eiffel Tower. I really like heights, and it's really a beautiful view up there. I don't know. Yeah. I really like that one.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, it's gorgeous up there. They got lots of land.
Yeah, it's really nice. Any other hobbies outside of like performing?
I play a lot of video games. I play mostly like empire building games or Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online, things like that. But yeah, I'm pretty much a video gamer.
Nice.
But that's my hobbies. Yeah.
Brian and Chris are the gamers on this podcast here. So.
Yeah, we play Call of Duty a couple of nights a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dustin, where do you see yourself within the next 5 years?
So in between shows and things like that, I found a job working as a receptionist at a salon. And that kind of like catapulted into management and hospitality and health and wellness and things like that. So I've been working as a salon manager for about 10 years now, along with Kings Island and any other extracurricular things that I've been doing. And so right now I'm in the process of seeing where that's going to further. I'm thinking maybe I would like to break into like the hotel industry to see what that side of hospitality looks like. Something like that. But 5 years from now, I just hope that, I'm financially well, healthy. I'm kind of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and ask our oddball question that we like to ask our guests. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars all the way. I'm basically super into the Force. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. The Force sets Star Trek right under it. I really do like Star Trek a lot. My favorite is Voyager, that whole season. But Star Wars all the way.
Nice. Yeah, we like Star Wars also.
Yeah.
Most of us.
Maybe.
Except for Chris.
I can't say that I don't. I can't say that I don't like it. I've just never seen all of them.
Yeah. I mean, and they're endless at this point. Disney keeps pumping them out.
Yeah. Dustin, I'm curious, man. What happens if, I always wanted to ask a performer that's up on stage, what happens if you forget your line during the show?
I have this toxic trait where I look at the other performers as if it is their fault. And then they start also a drummer out.
Move.
Yeah, sorry, that's what.
Three of us are drummers. We're in bands, and I can tell you that's also a drummer move there.
Yeah, it's
100%.
And the audience always thinks it's their fault. It makes me laugh afterwards, but then I hopefully have enough time to figure something out to move it along.
Buys you a little time. That's great. What a great tactic.
Can you are you allowed? Can you do the Maestro's voice for us real quick?
Yeah. Well, what have we here? It is I, the Maestro, headliner and star.
I love it.
Yes, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Chills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's amazing. We're geeking out.
Yeah.
I honestly got a little scared there for a second. I'm not gonna lie.
Boo.
So good.
What's next for you?
So I actually have been offered the Halloween segment and Christmas. I would say that Christmas is probably my favorite Kings Island performance gig. I'm a big fan of the holiday anyway, so to come to work and it be like decked out to the nines with everything Christmas everywhere, like that is great. But I'm not sure yet. I think I'll just go back to the salon for a minute and see if I want to take the Halloween gig. I think they're going to do Monster Rock again this year, which I've been doing for 7 years now, 7 seasons. So I'm not sure I want to jump right back into that, but it is a good time. So we'll see.
You kind of already mentioned it, Dustin, but we always ask our guests. You mentioned Adventure Express. You mentioned Eiffel Tower. Kind of our last question, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of your favorite rides at Kings Island? Maybe besides those two. Do you have any others?
I really like Delirium.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I don't know. I like Windseeker a lot.
I could take naps on Windseeker.
Yeah, that's what.
Really
it's a nice, easy ride. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Well, hey, Dustin, thanks so much again for joining us, man. We really do appreciate it. It's been such a treat to have you on this episode. And it's been so awesome to connect with you and get to know you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really great to be here.
Yeah, man. And for everybody else, hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Inside Amusements. Visit us at insideamusements.com. Follow us on social media, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.